Go ahead and do your stupid video already. I got my boyfriend coming over some jizz time, baby.
And now let's move on to the good stuff. How about my favorite horror movie, Friday the 13th, 1980? The reason why this is my favorite horror movie is because basically it was one of the first horror movies I ever saw. Therefore, I treat it as such. This movie has a 6.3 on Internet Movie Database. It's directed by Sean Cunningham, written by Victor Miller, and stars Betsy Palmer and Adrienne King. It scored almost $60 million at the box office with a budget of only $550,000. That is very cheap to make a movie, but it scored very, very well at the time. This is such a very good movie. I highly recommend this movie. It gets 5 out of 5 stars from me. If you have not seen this movie, I strongly advise you to check it out. A fun fact, this movie came out in May of 1980. The Shining also came out May of 1980, but I believe it bombed at the box office, unlike this movie, even though I think Shining is still a good movie. Another fun fact is Betsy Palmer bashed this movie despite starring in it. She only took this role because she really wanted that car. And this would actually pay for the car, so she took the movie. Even though she later learned to accept this role. So yeah, unlike Halloween, which is a suspense-driven, this is very bloody, which actually jump-started the slasher genre in the 1980s. So I highly recommend this movie. If you have not seen it, check it out. It also has Kevin Bacon. It's one of his first movie roles, so check it out if you have not done so. Friday the 13th. They were having sex while a little boy drowned. Kill her, Mommy. Kill her. Let's bring on the sequel, Friday the 13th Part 2. Has a 5.5 on Internet Movie Database. Directed by Steve Miner, written by Ron Kurtz. Starring Amy Steele as the main heroine of this movie. Apparently cost very cheap at the time. Moving right along. This is definitely a re-release. It's in very good shape. I highly recommend this movie if you have not seen it. It did like $22 million at the box office with $1.25 million for its production cost. Just like the events of the last one, Jason is actually in this one to come after the ones who killed Mommy in Crystal Lake. It's a very good pickup sequel. Jenny is a very, very good heroine in this movie. Very bloody. If you've seen the movie Twitch the Death Nerve from Mario Bava, there's actually 2 kills in this movie that are very, very similar. But I do have one little minor gripe. Warrington Gillette, who is credited as Jason in this movie, is only in one thing. Yet everybody thinks, oh, Warrington Gillette is Jason in this movie. No, he's not. Steve Dash is Jason in this movie. He was the one who did all the things, except the last thing, because Mr. Puss in Boots didn't want to be, oh, I don't want to do it. So suck his freaking saggy-looking dickwad. He gets no credit for this movie from me. Steve Dash is Jason. This is a very good follow-up sequel. I highly recommend it if you have not seen it. Friday the 13th Part 2, 1980. You're doomed. You're all doomed. Bring on the next sequel, Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D. Wow, that's very expensive. I got this for 50 cents. It's a very good sequel as well. I highly recommend this movie if you have not seen it as well. It's a 5.1 on Internet Movie Database. It is also directed by Steve Miner, written by Martin Kittarser, Carol Watson, starring Dana Kimmel as Chris and Richard Brooker as Jason. With a budget of like $2,500,000, it scored almost $37 million at the box office. This movie is very infamous for having the hockey mask show up from good old Shelley. Shelley is not a girl, by the way. If you have not seen this particular movie, I highly recommend it as well. Good old Harry Manfredini, who have I not mentioned it? Why have I not mentioned his name yet? Harry Manfredini performs the musical score in these movies, and it's just brilliant. It just sets the mood and pace for all of these slasher movies. I highly recommend this movie if you have not seen it. I know some folks who like to bash this movie after a while, saying that it's not as good as 1, 2, and 4. I can see that. But it's still not terrible. Good grief, y'all. Unfortunately, I wish that I could see it in real 3D instead of them blue and green Dick toothpaste sunglasses I have for one of my versions I have of this movie. I'll show much later on. I highly recommend this movie if you have not seen it. Friday the 13th Part 3 in 3D 1982. How come you never scream when we have sex? Give me something to scream about! And last and certainly not least is Friday the 13th, The Final Chapter. Directed by Joseph Zito and written by Barney Cohen. This movie is pretty darn good, actually. It has a 5.2 on Internet Movie Database. Came out in 1984. Starring Kimberly Beck and Corey Feldman. We've all heard that Corey Feldman name before. And Ted White as Jason. Fun fact about this movie, Ted White took his name off this movie because he thought this movie was a piece of garbage. Kind of like Betsy Palmer bashing her own movie, but he learned later to accept his role in horror history as one of the better Jasons, a very brutal one at that. I highly recommend this movie if you have not seen it. It is very, very good. Very, very bloody. And Joseph Zito, this is like his second movie. He also directed a movie called The Prowler, which I also highly recommend. It had like $33 million at the box office with a budget of like $2,600,000 or so. Check it out if you have not seen this movie. Please do. Hey Ted! Ted! Where the hell's the damn corkscrew? If I had to arrange these first 4 movies from best to worst, it would definitely be this order. Number 1, number 2, number 4, and number 3. But do not be discouraged. They're all very excellent movies that I highly recommend for you to watch. Look at these awesome covers. I would have sex with them right now if they would let me. Good God, I want to have sex with cardboard covers, for God's sake. How sad and pathetic am I? Bloody freaking hell, woman. I want to have sex with you someday. Friday the 13th, the first 4 movies. I hope you like, watch, splooge, anal bang, dick bang, vaginal bang, bang your bang bang, she bang 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 she bang. Check them out. Y'all are probably wondering, when are they going to have horrible movies? Well, I got a whole damn house full of horrible movies. I'll get to them eventually. Not to fear. You might want to turn your volume down when I get the horrible movies. Good God, you'll be getting it very soon at this rate. This series is very long. I just got to get to the good ones first. I'd definitely be having great rape with them. Rape in a bad way. But yeah, check these movies out. Right now, my favorite horror franchise. Sorry.
Okay, so this time we're reviewing The Swan Princess, which is an animated I can't say classic, but to me it's a classic. It was produced in association with Turner Family Showcase with Ness, even though that's not on the case. It is on the video. And It's like a musical animation thingy in the style of the old, what's it called? Disney.
Yeah.
So not only is it in the style of Disney, but it takes off on the fairy tale of Swan Lake and the ballet of Swan Lake, and it has a couple of sing-along songs for the kids if you watched enough times, which I did as a child, and so, you know, you remember the words, and it shows them growing up, and then what happens, obviously it's a fairy tale, so she gets enchanted into a swan, and she meets up with a puffin, a turtle, and a very French suave shrug. Mwah! Yes, please get if you can, and it was really good. And yeah. Oh, and don't get chased by the crocodile. Okay? That was it.
Oh yeah, stick that purple stuff in me right now. I love you, you love me, we're a happy family. Oh!